Alright, good morning everybody. Here we are back in the painting room on a Wednesday morning. That's strange. Yeah. I find myself surprisingly on call today rather than normal work. So I have to be near my computer, ready to do work just in case, but today's mine, so I thought, why don't I paint? I've got the painting room set up for anybody who's not seen this show before. Basically, Wandering DMs has a private Patreon enabled Discord server, so all of our patrons can join the Discord server anytime they want. A lot of great, interesting chat happens there, and the painting room is hosted there, which is this. So any of our patrons can log into the Discord and connect up and chat, and if they want, turn on their camera and share what they're painting, and we do a little painting session together. Now, so far, William's been the only one who's really joined me, and I know he's not available today. So today might be just me, especially since it's Wednesday morning, which is a weird time. But, yeah, what the hell? Let's do some painting, shall we? So, the other interesting difference today is I don't have my lights on because, like, there's sun. Usually I stream this at night, and so I got a bunch of lights pointed at myself and at the painting tray here, but as you can see, the sun is just streaming in here, which is great. I love painting in natural sunlight, but hopefully it looks okay on the stream, and if not, we'll fix it. But for now, shift this over a little bit. I'll see with my setup here. Okay. Let's see. Alright, what are we working on today? Actually, let's see. Oops. Glue. Over here. Okay. Let's see if I slide this a little bit. Bear with me, everyone. Just trying to find room for my feet. Okay. Line that up a little bit. Okay, got a few things that I'm working on. All in the name of getting this project done, which is a 10mm version of the board game Battle Masters. If you haven't played that game by Milton Bradley, back in the early 90s, I think it came out. It is a game that kind of is a two-player war game, kind of like a board game, an easy entry board game version of Warhammer Fantasy, essentially. The thing is huge. It's got a 5-foot square vinyl mat that you lay out on the floor. I love the game. You know, it comes with tons and tons of miniatures, like normal full-size miniatures. I know a lot of people bought that game just to steal the minis out of it. I love the game, but it's totally impractical to me these days. I'm not gonna roll out the vinyl mat on the floor and lay on the ground and play Warhammer on the ground. It's not happening. So what I've decided is to try and rebuild all the components of the game in this tiny here's the completed unit. This tiny 10mm size. Zoom in. Here we go. Okay. So this is a completed unit of militiamen for the Empire Army. Yeah, definitely the light is interesting with it streaming in from the window across the way there. But hopefully it's okay. Hopefully you can see kinda. I wonder if it's going to be any better if I get this light on. Let's try. See if that does anything. Yeah, I think the sun is just so freaking bright that they're just always going to be backlit by that sun. Let's see. Hang on, everybody. I'm just going to close this blind. It's a little less of the sun, which is such a shame. But even with a little less direct sunlight, we'll still let a little diffuse sunlight in through. Hopefully, it still looks good. Here we go. How's that look on camera? Yeah, still pretty backlit by the sun. Let's see. Turn this. I'm gonna turn this light off and see if this made any difference at all. Yeah. Ain't no light. Stay in there. Trying to get some light kind of from me pointing back in that direction. I don't know if this is going to work, but we're going to try it. Let's see, can I... turn the brightness way up. See what happens here. Still just absolutely washed out by the sun. Sorry, everybody. Looks like this is just going to be the way it is. I'm not sure that it warrants all this attempt at lighting when the sun is just... it's the sun. So, alright, well... yeah, not much. Not much different. Okay. Alright, well. That is a shame. Let's see. Alright, folks, I'm done, I think, the best I can here. Alright, well, this is a completed unit of... what line are they? They are from a manufacturer called Pendraken, which is in the UK. I bought these miniatures a couple of years ago. I really hope that that manufacturer survived the pandemic. I don't see why they wouldn't, but I honestly haven't ordered anything from them in quite some time. So... hope they're still around. I got piles of them at this point. Alright, so I'm going to ink these remaining 2 units here that I did recently. Inking 10mm is my favorite part because 10mm is just so fine that just a quick inking is usually enough to really make the details pop and make you feel like you're pretty much done. There's not a lot of work to do after after that. Okay, let's see. Ink. This brown ink, is this the one I like? Let's find out. Here. Okay. And order it down. consistency I'm always looking for in my ink is like a milk kind of. Want it to draw nicely. I think that would be right. That is a very greenish brown. Is that the right brown? Well, that's what I got. So, all right, fellas. Here we go. Time for ink. Slather it generously, pretty much over the entire miniature. I'll come back after this and do a pass of just picking out some small details. I might want to shine up the tops of their helmets or the points of their halberds. Camera's having a little trouble focusing. There you go. Yeah. The lighting is interesting at this early hour of the morning. Not my usual painting time. On the ground. We'll definitely do another pass on the ground where I will add a few splotches of lighter colors here and there to give it a little variation. I'll pick out the rocks in different colors. I mean, these little guys, they're so tiny that, like, the ground kind of represents a major portion of the miniature. And then, of course, last step is to attach the flag to their flagpole there. And that's just paper. I glue that in place, and then I give it a good thick slather of high gloss varnish on top. Alright, fellas, how we doing? Details coming out, starting to come out. Sadly, I think this lighting is such that actually looks great to me. I'm definitely able to see their detail way better today than when I usually paint at night. But I don't think the camera likes it very much. Alright, one unit. Another. But that's okay, because once these guys are inked, I need to just leave them well enough alone, so I'm going to set them to the side. We're going to look at some other bits of this project that are not the units, and maybe are going to show up on camera a little better. So, the original game came with all of the minis, and that was... what is it? Something like, I think 11 Imperial Army units and 15 Chaos Army units. And there was obviously the board, which was that, like I said, a big 5-foot square vinyl mat, which I ordered a board from an online producer of board game parts. Basically just took the artwork, shrunk it down. Got myself a nice 2-foot square, kind of normal board game board. Looks great. So that piece is done. The dice, I'll just steal the regular dice out of the board, because it is those special dice that Milton Bradley and Games Workshop were producing for these kind of one-off board games, it's basically a D6 with I think a 3-2-1 layout of icons. So there's like 3 hit icons, and there's 2 shield icons and 1 blank face. I think that's the layout of those. Anyway, no need for tiny dice. That's just ridiculous. So we'll have normal, regular, full-size dice. Okay. So there we go. Nicely inked. Ready to go. What else did the game come with? Well, there's a deck of cards that's used for turn order. And again, I'll just steal the regular cards out of the game. In fact, I kind of, when I started this project, I went onto eBay and I found somebody who was selling just as parts, like, spare bits from their gaming. I was able to buy some extra cards and dice and such, so I don't have to completely cannibalize my actual copy of this game. Just slide those guys up here. All right. Another thing that came with it was the cannon tiles. So that's the thing I've been working on. There's a unit that is the Mighty Cannon. Got it right here. Not painted yet. And the idea of the cannon. Let's see. I also have a little printout here of some hexes. These guys. You can go hide under there. So it's a little test bit of hex, so we can sort of see what stuff looks like on the board. So the idea was the Mighty Cannon could shoot up to like 10 hexes away, and had a special circular cardboard tiles. Actually, I think I might have one of those kicking around. Let's see. That box here of bits from the original game, right? Here's the actual vinyl mat. See how enormous those hexes are. Okay. Here's some extra pieces I bought online. So it had these cannon tiles, right? Just cardboard cannon tiles. They all had the Mighty Cannon on the back, and then on the flip side you have 3 options: cannonball flies, the cannonball bounces, or the cannonball explodes. And the idea was you kind of laid these out in a path along the board towards your target, and you would flip them over one by one to see what the cannonball did. And if it reached the target without exploding, then it would explode on the target and destroy it. And maybe it would bounce along the way, causing a little damage, or it might prematurely explode. And if you got an explosion tile right adjacent to the cannon, that was considered a backfire, and then possibly your cannon would take some damage. Anyway, obviously I need smaller ones for this size board. So I took the art and I shrunk it down, printed it out. Here's a little piece of paper printout of a cannon tile. So that's the size I'm looking for, which is perfect, really, if I not muck with my ink, freshly inked guys. So if I had a unit here, I could kind of set it on top of them like that. There you go. Right, and then I found these 1.5-inch wooden discs at a craft store. So my idea was to adhere the art to that. That's the plan. I did a test run. I ended up, I wanted the edges to be black, and I realized that what I had to do was paint the edges first. That was actually the most important part. Let's see, where is that? There it is. So here's my first test one that I made. And it came out pretty good. And it's basically, so I painted it black, stuck the paper, just white glued the paper to it, and then coated the whole thing in a gloss finish. Then I decided randomly, well, what if instead of printing on just regular plain printer paper, what if I printed on cardstock? So I tried making a version like that. And the interesting thing, I don't know how well you can tell on camera, maybe a little bit. So the cardstock one, I think, held the color better. And maybe there's just a little bit more for the ink to absorb into or something. Got a little less washed out. So I think the cardstock version actually looks better. So that's what we're going with. And I have proceeded on this project a bit. That's the finished cardstock one right here in my hand. Wait a minute. Oh, sorry. Here we go. Sorry, this is the finished cardstock one. This is the finished paper one. I don't know if you can tell. Yeah, the camera. They look kind of similar on the camera, but I assure you that this one is much more washed out from the... I think just from putting the gloss varnish on top of the printed paper. Kind of washed it out a bit. So, anyway, that's the good one. Alright, units to the side, please. Because then I have since painted and glued all of these tiles. And that's the target one, so that's the one you place on your target where you're going to pop it. So this all needs a good coat of gloss, which is what I'm going to do. right now. This one, that's the test one that is done. And this is the paper one, which we've decided to jump. And there should be 10 total of these. 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. Oh! That's the completed. That's the prototyping one. Great. Nope, I've just thrown away the wrong one, everyone. Oof. Now I hit my head on the camera pole. I'm doing great this morning. Yeah, so I have I've used GameCrafter, and actually I used for the board I used BoardGameMaker.com, where I ordered the board from. Yeah, I could probably have ordered something print on demand. I like the heft. Like the little wooden tokens got a nice heft to it, and I don't know. I was happy to make them myself. Here they are. They're made, so all they need is to be finished. Okay. All these just need a nice coat of gloss sealer. So that's what we're doing. And then when I'm done with this, I'm going to move on to the next piece, which is the tower. So the game came with a plastic tower piece, which was went somewhere on the board. It had rules for who was allowed to get on top of it, and you know what? Maybe I'll use a bigger brush. Let's use this one. And how that affected combat, etc. And the funny thing about the towers, the only thing that could damage it was the cannon. So the cannon, if an explosion happened from the cannon, it didn't totally destroy the tower, it caused a point of damage, and then the tower could take 3 direct hits from the cannon before it was utterly destroyed, which I've never seen happen in actual play. Never once seen the cannon get destroyed. Okay, so I'm going to start on these by getting the edge. And I'll lay it down and do one side, and that'll leave one side unglossed. So then I'll come back when this is dry and do another coat where I'll hit the edge again, etc., etc. Just a little busy work for this funny on-call morning. Not expecting this morning. This is not what I was anticipating doing. Thought I would be working. But hard to complain about an unexpected quiet day. Definitely hard to complain about being paid to be on call, so what the hell. Does mean, folks, I might vanish very suddenly if I'm called in. And as long as I'm saying that out loud, let's just make sure that I can see work chat. Just in case. Yeah, okay. It's there. It's running. Great. Oh, thanks for joining me this morning, Alan. Hope you're having a lovely day before Thanksgiving. This is very messy. I feel like this needs a little bit of touch-up of black, this one. So I'm going to set that one to the side. Give it a little more black paint. And the gloss I put on my palette here is starting to run thin. Don't feel like this piece is getting a proper coating. There's not enough on my brush. Alright, let's grab this black. Switch back to gloss. Anybody else need a touch up while I'm doing this? Just this one. This one got a little. Keep picking that one up. That's not the. That's the test one. That one's done. Here we go. This is the one I wanted. Alright. Just gonna a little more black paint around the edge of this one. It seems a little scuffed. Oh, I forgot to mention, so one of the things that I did also when I was printing out the card to stick to these is I really didn't want to like manually hand cut these things out. So I bought this 1.5 inch diameter hole punch thing to punch them out, and I did that, and then side. And then it turned out that that was actually slightly larger than the wooden discs. They're not. They both claim to be 1.5 inch diameter, not quite exactly the same, of course. So I had to give up on that and still like just use one of the discs as a template and stick it on top and kind of go around with my X-Acto knife. Not what I wanted, but it worked. And then the edge, because it's on cardstock and a little thick, the edge was kind of thick and very white, so I took a Sharpie and I just went around the very edge of it to blacken that. Okay. Proceeding. So, yep, once these are all painted and sitting and drying, I will switch on to the tower. Take a look at how the tower's doing. Yes, I scratch built a tower for this thing. There are a couple of other minor pieces of the game that I could build that I'm debating if I want to build. There were some plastic hedge pieces and a couple tiles of alternate terrain, so you could stick those onto your board if you wanted to kind of vary the board a little bit. In practice, I can say when I was playing this game, I never used those pieces. So I'm not too worried about reproducing them. You know, maybe for completeness sake, I will do that at the very end. But I'd rather get the core parts done and make this game playable. And then the final thing is, of course, I'll need a box to put this whole thing in once it's all done. And that's probably another thing I'll outsource, because that's actually what gummed this project up originally and why it's taken me so long to make real progress on the thing. The whole point was to be an excuse to paint these 10mm miniatures. And then, for some reason, I found myself box making. And it didn't go well. Did not go well. I am not a good box maker, as it turns out. So, yeah, so the whole project kind of got shelved for a while until I moved, and then I was like, throw this away? Do I try to resuscitate this? I threw away all the box making stuff because that was just a nightmare. But the miniatures I still had, and I thought, alright, let's see if I can resuscitate this project and just cleverly outsource some of the work. Okay. High enough to flip over, maybe? Let's just do those 5. You can only see 3 of them, people. There we go. Just gonna do those 5 on this side. And I'll let these things dry fully while I work on the tower, and I'll probably come back and give them another coat of gloss. Why not? Alan is posting that lumber is almost always less than what they say it is. Yeah, it's hard to think of these stupid little discs as lumber, but sure enough, yep, yeah, you're right. I mean, I'm not surprised that measurements aren't precise. But if it had just gone the other direction, if the wood discs were slightly larger than the hole punch, that would have been fine. I would have been fine with that. The fact that the paper that was supposed to go on top was larger than the wood was like what was killing me. I regret having put these on newspaper. No, okay. Sure that this kind of painting is not the most thrilling for a live stream, so I'm trying to push past this chore so we can get on to the fun part of the tower. So I'll probably paint a little bit this morning, then we'll try and get some chores done, and maybe we'll come back later this afternoon and paint some more. Trying to fill my day with things that still keep me within reach of the computer just in case it gets cold. Okay. The only one I haven't glossed is this one. Oh, I just touched up the edge. Is it dry enough? Let's be patient. Set that to the side and remember that it needs to be reglossed. Okay. Alright, painting tray. Surely there is room. Shoving all my bits around here. Push these under the lip over here to dry. Them out of the way. Great. Okay. The tower. Wonder if I can camera a little bit. Maybe not. This way. Self a little more room here. There we go. Here's the tower. So, this I built by made a little just rectangle 3D cube out of foam core, and put a cap on top. The most important part was to make sure that the units would fit on top. They mostly do. Oh no. Oh, I might have crowded this one a little bit too much on the side. Oh dear. Well, mostly fits up there. Okay. And I'm sure it varies. I'm sure that I was not super precise with it. Yeah, that unit fits great. So these guys just have a little wide of a base. Okay, well, shit happens. Anyway, I then took two-part epoxy sculpting stuff that I usually use for gap filling, which I have a ton of, and I just started making little balls, and I rolled them, put them all around the edges of this thing. I made two little balsa wood doors here, and then I made little, out of my epoxy, I made little, what are those called? There's a word for the piece of stonework that supports the roof. Can't remember. Anyway, and then made the top. So, I've since primed and painted this buttresses. Thank you, Zip Zap Zap. Zip Zap Wrap. Thank you. There you go, buttresses. Yep. So the amusing thing about this is I made the buttresses after I coated the whole thing in stonework, and then the buttresses looked like they were on top of the stonework, which looked super weird. And so I had to do a whole second layer of stonework around the outside, which was annoying, but it gives it a little more bulk, which I don't mind, a little more heft. And, okay, so this has been primed, painted black. I'm going to paint the doors. I'm going to dry brush a couple layers of different colors of gray to make the stonework pop. And then I'll probably come back with some alternate grays and beiges and pick out a few stones for a little variation. But let's start with a little dry brushing. I think I want to dry brush first before I do the doors, just in case I accidentally get some gray paint on the doors, because then I can cover that up when I come back with my brown. So, what have we got here? That's black. I went gray. Stormy gray. That sounds hopefully like the darkest gray I've got here available to me. So, let's do it. Is this the brush I want? Let's see if I have a better brush. Yeah, I like this brush better. Okay. Up and there you go. Get some stonework to start to pop out here. Probably do at least 3 different shades of dry brushing here. Lighter and lighter as we go, so I'm being kind of heavy on this first pass. It's the darkest. Now is the time when the whole thing is wet, and I don't want to touch it anywhere. And it's wobbling about because what happens. I really want to hold it steady. Maybe it's dry. Okay. Maybe I won't get fingerprints all over it. I'm so impatient. Maybe on the next layer I'll do the top first. Maybe that'll be wiser. The corners. Alright, so yeah, it's starting to look like a stone tower. Starting to. Alright, let's go up a shade of gray. That was Stormy Gray. Let us try... I do not like these shades of gray I have here. They get too bright too quick. So, I'm gonna mix it ourselves. That's the other option. Okay. Got some black here from when I was touching up the disc. Let's grab some white. Oh, this is to put a skewer in the bottom. Yeah, so I could hold it. Yeah, that'd be wise. In the past, I used to have a little. Oh, I don't want to put a hole in the bottom of this thing. It's fine. It's fine. All right, let's mix up a slightly brighter gray than what I was. A little more too bright here, but trying to get a little brighter than the one that's on there. Okay. Now we're getting some. Now that's mixed. All right, here we go. Round 2. Take a lighter touch this time because I don't want to just completely cover up the darker gray that I just did. Augment it. Off camera. Underside and the buttresses. How many times I got the buttress? Not bad. Getting there. Not to dip it into where I was just dry brushing. Okay. I feel like that's starting to look pretty good. I'm gonna do one more much lighter shade of gray, and I'm gonna go really light touch on this. So Let's see how this pre-mixed one looks. Oh, hot glue it onto it. Yeah, that's I used to have this just chunk of plastic. I think it was actually a piece of a coat hanger. It was just a handle, and I used to stick stuff to it with Fun Tack. That worked for a long time. Yeah, these are great ideas. I'm definitely too lazy to do that right now. I want. Okay, this is my lightest shade of gray, so super light touch here. Don't go too heavy. Keep reminding myself of that. Very gently. More. Undersides here. Look at that already. Come back and up to the bottom of this with this black. All right. Alright. Yeah. Not too bad. Not too bad. Alright, let's get some unusual colors here. Let's see. What is this? Mana Waste Gray? Almost looks violet in the bottle. Oh, that's very bright. Not sure I like that. What else we got? Aged Bone. Just looking for some variations here. I'm gonna pick out odd stones here and there. Just add a little. Oh god, but I like that color. Very old bottle of paint. Okay. So the idea here is to just randomly grab a stone. So, you get to be that color. Yeah. This one. Oh, I really want to do one of these top ones. Let's see. Here. I find another color to do this with, but okay, we'll wait on the top. Why does it make life so hard for myself by doing this corner block? But we want. Gotcha. Okay. Do one of these. Really no rhyme or reason here to which stones I'm choosing. Trying to get a few here and there. Oh, my head is totally blocking the cameras. Everybody. There's one up here. I want to do one of the ones on top. This one. Maybe the second one. What do you think? This one in the corner. Balanced. Well, I'm going to do another color. That's fine. Maybe I'll pick out a couple of the flagstones on the top here. Let's see. There. Yeah. And now I'm being a stickler for consistency. This stone is painted this color on the other side. This color on this side. Ooh, look at that. See, look. Take that one out without realizing that it's kind of exposed on the top. So, let's see. Excellent. Okay. Okay. I'm going to find another color. Something a little more in the brown realm. It's too brown, but it's not coming out well. Just make that in, huh? Yeah. Red color here. Cool. Browny, gray, grayish, as it were. Yeah, I like that. I don't know if you guys can even see that. Gonna go with just lighter, even lighter touch. Fewer of a few here and there. This weird color. Great. This is color. Yeah. All right. Yeah, not too bad. Okay. Last bit, let's do the doors. I need a nice brown for my doors. Oh dear. Okay. Wasn't coming out and then came out in a rush. That's what happens. Down a little bit. Paint on the brush. There we go. We'll do an ink pass on the doors. Get some of these cracks to show up. Give it a little depth. Let that dry. See if it needs another coat before I ink it. Oh dear. Ooh, knocking things over. Yes, yeah, indeed. Moving on from masonry to carpentry. Just so Thurston Howell the Fourth. Welcome to the stream. All right, well, I'll give that a moment to dry. I'll just talk a little bit about the channel for anybody who's stumbling onto us. We're Wandering DMs, and every Sunday at 1 p.m. we do a live stream of discussion about Dungeons & Dragons and other role-playing games. Just last Sunday we had special guest Keith Amon on, author of the book The Monsters Know What They're Doing. This Thursday, Dan, my stream partner Dan, will be back on the channel playing as Book of War playtest. Yes, Thursday, Thanksgiving. Very unusual, but Dan has a regular opponent, also named Dan, who is helping him playtest his Book of War. What are we listening to? Sorry. Sorry, everyone. Was not expecting weird child voice in this background music. We're just gonna skip the track. There we go. Okay. That was really weird. Yeah, so Dan versus Dan at Book of War playtests, the most dangerous game. They'll be, they're actually having Thanksgiving dinner together, which is lovely, and then they're gonna come and play a game on the stream. So if you're looking for a little competitive, competitive sport on television and not a football fan, come and check out Book of War playtest. Look at me here fussing at the bottom that I got a little gray on what I want to be black, so I'm painting it, which is just going to make it a pain in the butt for me later when I want to tip it over. Why am I doing this? Knock it off. So that's the upcoming schedule. So the interesting thing about Book of War is it's a rule set, a very, very simple, very light rule set for miniature wargaming, and Collins came up with specifically to be easily translatable to classic D&D. So that's your original D&D or AD&D First Edition, basic D&D, or any of the new variants that are out. The idea is that it's very easy to translate stats to and from, so if you are running a long-running D&D campaign and you want to feature a large-scale battle as part of your D&D campaign, very easy to just grab Book of War, move the stats on over, and play it out, which I have done. Let me tell you, it's very satisfying. Very satisfying to have the major battles of your campaign world played out as a separate game. How we doing? Not dry yet. I really want to ink it. Okay, relax. Let's take a look at something else. Move this to the side. Maybe I can recoat my tiles now that I've gotten lovely gray paint all over my workspace. Here's some random paper. Let's just put that down. Alright, while I wait for my castle to dry, I will do another round of gloss on my... Do that a little bit for you. There you go. Where's my gloss? There it is. So when this project is finally done, which, let me tell you, is going to take some time, because I still, let's see, by my count, still have 7 units on the Imperial side to paint, and then I still have to do all 15 of the Chaos units, which aren't even based. They're not even, I gotta, assemble the minis, make sure I have all of them. I believe when I started this project, I had set aside all the minis that I expected to use, so I think they all exist. But I might find... I seem to recall that actually one of the problems I was having was the Chaos Army has both orcs and goblins in it, and Pendraken at the time was not making a goblin miniature, only an orc miniature. I can't even imagine what a goblin miniature in 10mm would look like, since goblins traditionally are smaller than everything else. That might be a big ask, so but look at what I have. The Chaos Army in this game is very interesting because, again, this was a combination of Milton Bradley and Games Workshop making this game to try and make an approachable, entry point for people who are interested in wargaming, but wanted something lighter. Play this board game, and so they were trying to get the highlight reel, if you will, of Warhammer into the game. So the Imperial Army is definitely the Imperial Army, as we all know and love. Very classic, with militia and a cannon and archers and crossbowmen and some cavalry. It does actually have some knights that feel to me a little Bretonnian, maybe. But I don't know. They're probably fine in the Imperial Army. But on the Chaos side, they just kind of went whole hog and were just like, let's get all of the baddies in here. So you have some Chaos Warriors and Chaos Knights on, for your cavalry unit. And you also have Orcs and Goblins, some Goblin Wolf Riders for some light, fast cavalry. And you've also got some Beastmen. And and an Ogre. There's an Ogre. That's their big heavy unit to complement the Imperial Cannon. They got this big old Ogre. Which, I think my idea for that was to just use a standard 32mm model. Because that's pretty big in 10mm against the 10mm minis. So I have the bases cut. It's just little MDF rectangles of a standard size, so those are cut and ready, and I've got a pile of miniatures kicking around somewhere. So that's all got to be assembled. Usually what I do is I glue the minis to the base, and then I put down a little sand on there to get a little texture, and then I prime the whole thing. All that's got to be done, and then all the painting. So yeah, might be. Who knows? Might still be working on this Thanksgiving of 23. We'll see. Anyone has ideas for where to go to find a nice box for the whole thing, so the board folds up into a 1 foot by 1 foot square, so it's one of those quarter fold boards. And then I'd like the box to hold all these pieces that you're seeing, plus all the miniatures. I'll probably build my own inset for it out of foam core or something like that. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not a carpenter. I'm a very poor box maker, but I'd like, a nice, wood box would be nice for it. Maybe not cardboard, something that looks a little fancier. Wouldn't mind that. Okay. Just gonna do a little more brown here on my doors. Give them a second base coat before I ink. And I just knocked my light over. Not that it's doing much. It's done. Try that a little more water. There we go. All right. How's everyone doing? Anybody got some fun gaming plans for the holiday? Anybody do anything? I'm going myself out to going to a friend's for Thanksgiving this year. Just four of us kind of hanging out. Oh, right, I haven't done this. Sorry. And been thinking about some games to bring. Might try a little Fall of Magic, or Return the Dark Tower. A favorite in our household. Order myself more gloss here. My gloss usually I go for the matte varnish or matte sealer, which I have large bottles of. But for these pieces, gloss feels better. Speaking of sealing stuff, I actually have my first unit of cavalry still sitting there needing sealing. I was debating on what to use for them because I do like to get out the gloss sealer for models that are wearing a lot of armor. That one. Those guys are kind of 50-50, so I'm like, do I? I don't want to completely gloss. I don't want like shiny horses, but I guess I could pick out some of the metal bits with gloss and then go back and seal the rest in matte. Okay, here was the initial prototype. So there you go. That is the full set of tiles. All right. That is not dry enough. Or am I? Ugh, this light. It just doesn't want to stay. Yeah, all right. my inked guys. Looking pretty good. Yeah, probably pick out some of the shinier bits in the metal, the helmets, and the halberd heads. I'll use a little shine. Here's the unit. I got gloss here. Here's my cavalry unit, which I'm just gonna go ahead and got gloss on my palette. Put some on there. On their flag. And maybe there. So there's ears, maybe. Helmets. Get a little gloss onto their armor. Where they should be shiny. That is my first cavalry unit. Pretty happy with them. You can see a bit where I've done more effort on the ground there to add some little splotches of lighter green and yellow, and there don't really have any big rocks on there. Try and get a little, again, put a little extra gloss here on their shields, because the interesting thing about the knights is that they color-coded. There was a blue, or a red, and a yellow. These are the blue knights, and the most blue I got onto them was on their shields, so I want that to really pop. And definitely want this flag to be nice and shiny. That's the important part, so you can tell that this is a knight unit and it gets 4 dice. Okay. Coming back at this one, which only got 1 coat because I was touching the black paint on it. Okay. Ugh. Extra one. Somewhere. Okay. All right. See, Alan is suggesting Vallejo metal medium is really bright. Excellent. You know, I've bought a bunch of Reaper paints, which generally I like, but I was really disappointed in their metals. It's very dull, I found. So I switched to a different metallic. Actually, just got some craft metallics. These look way better. Alright, what do you think? Can I put a little ink on the door of my castle? I think so. I think it's where'd my ink go? There it is. Oh. Lovely. See that, but definitely getting the wood grain to come out. So what I do for those doors is I just cut them out of some thin balsa wood, and then I used the X-Acto knife. I flipped it over to get the dull edge, and I just scraped some lines into it to give it that kind of wood grain look, because I knew the ink would pick that up. All right. I'm gonna let my tower dry, and then that will need to be sealed. And then it's on back to more units. Well, I think that's a bit. That's probably plenty painting for this morning. We'll go get some chores done, get myself some lunch, and maybe be back. So far, so good. Nobody's called me. So cool. All right. Well, I'm gonna wrap up there, folks, for now. Thanks for joining me. I might be back a little later this afternoon to do some more painting. Otherwise, look for Dan on Thursday if you want to watch a little Book of War with your turkey. Or not. Those in other environs. Excellent. Thanks, everyone. I will hopefully see you later.